Welcome back, college baseball fans. We got another episode of the Top 25 show for you guys here from the College Baseball Show, brought to you by Just Baseball Media. I'm your host, Mark Garland. I've also got co-host Will Massa. How we doing, Will?
I'm doing great. Really fun weekend in Arlington for me this weekend. Got to see some unbelievably talented teams go off. The one game I'm really bummed I missed was the big one yesterday in Mississippi State and UCLA, but got to see a lot of really talented teams and really just really good tests across the board. Like I had a great time there, really fun weekend, but we'll get into that later.
Love it, love it. And we got our other friend here from 6'4 Analytics, Jason Ratcliffe. How we doing, Jason? Welcome back, buddy.
Hey, thanks so much. Doing well. Living the dream, making it right, and watching a little bit of LSU baseball. Are we live right now? Just wondering. Quick question.
Oh,
Am I
we're
going
We're
crazy?
recording.
not live
This will come out
recording.
Tuesday
Ah,
morning. Yeah, because we got a fun interview that I did with Easton Talt from Oregon State Baseball. We're going to release that
oh,
in the middle of this
nice.
episode. Great young man. Great to talk to him. He tried to warn us ahead of time about Jacob Galloway, and I was like, okay, I like Galloway. He's good defensively. Man, he's been good offensively. But we'll talk about that when we get to the Beavers. Let's dive right into some of these weekend things. The number one thing has to be UCLA, right? They're going to be number one in our poll. Spoiler alert. They played like the number one team. UCLA wowed. Will, I'll let you start since you were there, and then I'm going to jump to Jason on this. But this UCLA team looked the part. They beat the teams they're supposed to, and they played really good. I mean, Mississippi State, top five team also in that last game, but wow, UCLA is good.
Yeah, that was my big takeaway was holy cow, this team is good. And game one, granted, the score is not indicative of how close that game was against
Yeah.
Tennessee. Tegan Coons was fantastic against UCLA. I mean, maybe the best line you'll see out of a losing pitcher in a while. I mean, 10 punch outs. He really just got hurt by the long ball. And UCLA did
Yeah.
a lot of and they weren't bad pitches. I mean, we saw Peyton Brennan hit one basically off the end cap, it felt like, that went 112 opposite field. And Will Gasparino reached out and hit one on the outer third of the plate and poked one out. And it was just unbelievable watching that offense work because Tegan Coons made a lot of really good pitches. And I was honestly really impressed by Tennessee. I thought they looked good. And then they went out and just took down the Aggies. I mean, man, they looked sharp in that game. Michael Barnett was really good. Ran away with it late again. And then obviously you get the thriller last night in extra innings and really just top to bottom looks like the number one team in the country. I think some of the things that, and I know Jason will touch on it too, is the pitching. Michael Barnett was fantastic in that second game. A really, really strong outing. Only had two pitches above 90 miles an hour, but only the one hit allowed, which was a home run. Really good outing, really strong outing, but still walk three. Seems like that's going to be a little bit of a tell for UCLA is can they keep the free passes down? But with how good, and Michael Barnett talked about it after that game, like they have 9+ defenders. He talked about that team being a true 9-on-1 team on every single at bat. It was 100% true. I mean, Rock stuck it like none other at shortstop. The outfield is unbelievably good. We saw Peyton Brennan make some really good plays in right field. Just an overall really, really good team. The one thing that I took away that I feel like nobody is talking about with UCLA is everybody on that team runs well, like very underrated. Even Cashel
Mhm.
Duggar as the catcher, they
Yeah.
all run really well. And I think that's something to watch moving forward. They might not steal a ton of bags, but everybody runs.
Yeah, and that team, like you said, defensively, very, very good. Mola, by the way, he's very underrated as how good defensively he is at first base. Roman Martin at third, Dean West in left field. Like these guys move around. They play the field well. They're really well put together. They seem to be the most solid team, which is why we had them at number one the preseason because we thought, hey, they're returning 8 guys and adding Will Gasparino, who has been fantastic, by the way, 9 home runs in 10 games. But Jason, overall, if we had question marks, it's the pitching on this UCLA team, I guess, and some of what they're giving up is the long ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at it. Chalowski, other than pretty much his last AB, like I mean, he had kind of a little bit of home hum like weekend. I mean, it was pretty good, but was really big in the key moments. Honestly, you could say that about a lot of guys. Brennan, I think, was sub 300 for the week. Probably had one of the most. Well, you were talking about that Oppo home run. Maybe one of the most impressive Oppo homes of it. It coming off the bat. It looked like one of those backspin Oppo home runs that kind of like get out with wind, but it's a closed stadium and it went 450. So that was absolutely ridiculous. So, I mean, they've got a ton of power and, well, as you said, they're extremely athletic. So I feel like, they're never out of it. Redeman giving up, I think he gave up 3. And I mean, Tennessee's good. That was a little interesting. But I mean, really for me, it comes down to the depth for their pitching. Like, what does that look like? And I think, I wrote it down as I was preparing for this. I was like, I think I'm just making up excuses for them now.
Trying to find something.
Yeah. Actually, you don't need 8, 9 pitchers in Omaha. You need like 5 to 7. If you have 5 good pitchers, look at LSU last year. If you have 5 good pitchers, you're good. Like, obviously they had more than that, but they just used those 5. Like, you'll just be good. Look at NC State in 2021. I mean, they literally had their 3 starters and they 2 bullpen guys, and they just went.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, you can do a lot of damage with upper end high quality arms, which they absolutely have, and then they just have studs. So for me, they're clearly the number 1 team. I think the distance between them and like 2nd through 4th isn't like astronomical, but I do think they're clearly the number 1 team.
Yeah, I think that the top 5's all right there, but if you say, hey, UCLA is number 1, they're going to stay number 1 for the rest of the season, it's not going to surprise me because the competition gets a little bit easier for them for the rest of the season until that last week against Oregon, I think. Other than that, like, their schedule plays out to their favor. Like, they get 3 games in midweeks all against Oregon State, which probably favors a little bit towards Oregon State as far as the starting pitching for those games, but the hitting is definitely in Oregon's favor. I think that UCLA looks at it and goes, man, we got an easy schedule. Like, we don't have to play any of those guys. We don't have those big midweek games against really anybody. So as far as Big Ten goes, they're sitting pretty. Let's talk about Texas. They're very, very good. They continue their streak. They've been very just elite on the mound. Jason, 1 run in the game 1 against Coastal Carolina, 2 runs against Baylor, and then 3 runs in that last game against Ohio State. You're giving up 3 runs on a Sunday. Like, that's usually when you're running out of arms after 4 games in the week. They just don't seem to run out of arms. They just throw out another guy, just throw 98 miles an hour with a sinker down the middle.
Yeah. Carbon copy my comments for UCLA for Texas. At the beginning of the year, I was really not sure what this team would be. And I think I kind of got the fall ball stupidity, I would say, for this team, because I saw them and frankly it didn't look great. They've been phenomenal. Aiden Robbins is we have him as the best hitter in baseball right now, which may shock some people, but I mean, I think he's got like something like a 1300 OPS, and he's just kind of going crazy against really good competition. Like, Texas has played like good teams. One of the last 3 unbeatens. They've got Ruger Riojas has been phenomenal for them on the mound. Volantis, I think we talked about this last time. They have the best Sunday pitcher in the country because he'd be a Friday night guy for 98% of D1, probably more like 99. So, I mean, they've got quality depth at arms. They've got elite players in the outfield behind the plate. Timu, the shortstop, had a great. Yeah, I think he was a player of the week for some. I think he was the SEC player of the week, the SEC conferences that they put out. I think he had 3 bombs. I think he had like 2 at Stanford last year for the entire year.
I was there live for both of them.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. It's like 290 to the Crawford boxes to left field in the Astrodome, but still, it doesn't matter. Like, a bomb's a bomb. So, yeah, they're good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you had to pick on something, Will, is Luke Harrison on Saturday didn't look sharp, but he only gave up 2 runs in 3 2/3. Like, if I have to pick someone, I'm like, I guess it's Luke Harrison been like okay on Saturdays, but the fact is, Rio has been so good on Fridays, and Volantis going on Sundays just makes you go, it doesn't matter. We could throw 5 guys on Saturday if we have to, and we're going to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And I talked about this on Saturday, or maybe it was last Monday, but you have a guy like Thomas Burns, who was a Friday night starter in the Big 12, and now he's kind of just at the back end of the bullpen hanging out. And he's got 11 punch outs through 5 innings of work. Like, over half the time he's striking guys out, and it's unbelievable that he's just hanging out in the bullpen whenever you need him. And Jason, to your point, like, Aiden Robbins is just unreal. He hit a home run this weekend that I'm pretty sure never came down, went off the trains. That kid is ridiculous. And I figured he would put up good numbers. I mean, you look at the numbers last year and it's video game numbers, like legitimately on easy mode. And And you wonder how that translates into the SEC, and it's translated really well so far. Not that they've played SEC yet, but he looks the part, and I think you got to be really fired up that this team is hitting, because what was the big thing last year? It was like, this team is going to go as far as that offense will take them with how good the pitching was. They have a 1. OPS as a team right now. They're holding opposing teams to a sub 200 batting average. I believe it's around 150 or 160. So this team is just unreal across the board. I'm really excited for them to be in SEC play, because I want to see what the offense does in SEC play. The pitching is going to be fine. Like, this pitching staff is going to be unreal no matter who they play. I'm more curious about the offense against SEC play, but it looks the part so far.
For sure. And the pitching's deep too, right? So it's not even like you can say, okay, we just got to get through to the bullpen. The bullpen's good. Max Grubb's sitting in the bullpen. Thomas Burns sitting in the bullpen. Flores hasn't even been himself yet, and he's been probably the biggest struggle out of the bullpen for Texas, and he's going to get better. I mean, the fact is, this Texas team is very good. They're going to be a top 5 team. I would assume most of the season. I don't see them stumbling too bad just because the pitching is so good. But then to your point, Jason, you're talking about how you have Aiden Robbins as number 1 player. The other side of that, Will Gasparino leaves from Texas to UCLA. They're right there, probably 2 top 5 players. They're both center fielders, like playing that good. It's crazy.
Yeah. I said this, I think, when he hit like his either 9th or 10th home run, that when we put him number 2 overall in the transfer portal, we had some coaches reach out and they're like, "Are you sure?" It's like, well, it's these like 5 to 6 metrics, because they were like, "Well, he strikes out a lot. He strikes out a lot." And I was like, "Okay, well, he's got these, and this. Like, this is why we think he's good." And it's too early to pat yourself on the back, but it's also already 10 home runs. So it's kind of like, if he just strikes out for the rest of the year, he's still got a good season. So pretty wild.
Yeah. I mean, he's already had a good season, and look at all the people that are around him at UCLA too. It makes a huge difference when you have that much support. You're going to have to get throwing strikes, and that he's taken advantage of fastballs in the zone, and he's been able to hit a couple balls that were not in the zone out of the ballpark. So good on him. Let's move to Southern Miss.
I want to touch on that really quick before we jump into Southern Miss. It was really interesting hearing Coach Savage talk about Gasparino in Arlington this weekend, because honestly, I think the most frequent question he got all weekend was, why is Will Gasparino hitting 8th? And he had a great answer for it. He's like, we talked about lengthening this lineup, and when you have him and Dominic Cadiz at 8 and 9, it's like you got some real issues at the bottom of the order, and he's gonna have guys on base even in the 8 spot. And he talked about him just being more comfortable, and he played with all those guys growing up, and it just seems like across the board it's a really good fit for him. The kid is full of personality, I'll say.
One last thing with that. Probably the weirdest, there's a lot of weird shit that happens every weekend, but when they were going up against Mississippi State, they walked him to get to the 9-hole hitter. And like when I saw it, I was like, these guys are crazy. Like, you don't walk the bases loaded like in a tie game. Like, what are we doing? Like, you've got 2 outs. Like, if he hits a single, it's one. Like, any single, not anything in the outfield is 2 runs, regardless. Yeah. And I just like, what are we doing? And I'm sure in the back of the coach's mind, he's like, oh, it's the 9-hole hitter back there. Like, you're not used to intentionally walking the 8-hole hitter. So yeah, definitely some oddities in that lineup.
Yeah, no easy outs, you would say, for UCLA, and that's what's proven to be so far this season. So Southern Miss, Tuesday night they go crush Alabama, a 10-run, just looking the part. Go to Louisiana Tech, which is a tough ballpark. People have a hard time down there. It's rowdy. They sweep down there. They had the 10-run on Saturday, 11-0, 8-3 on Friday, and then 6-2. Will, they just continue to impress. I mean, they're doing things the right way on every side of the ball. Sometimes they win games with home runs. Sometimes it's just, nickel and diamond people. Pitching's been good. Defense has been good. There's not a lot to say negatively about this Southern Miss team.
Yeah, they're just a complete club, quite honestly. That's the best I can say it. I mean, they've got 4 guys over a 1. OPS. Seth Smith has found his way into the lineup, and he's absolutely mashed for them. Again, we saw them beat up on Alabama. That game was interesting because Alabama did roll out a lot of younger arms. You'll see that when the Power 5 teams travel around. But, I mean, they took advantage, right? Alabama played a pretty good game early on, and then Southern Miss just blew that thing open. The one guy I want to talk about, and he threw in that midweek game, I really want to see him throw some more, is Bruce Littleton threw in that game. I have seen 0 metrics on his slider, but it was potentially the grossest slider I have seen in college baseball this year. He threw his first one. I was holy cow, what was that? The thing broke like the entire length of the plate. It was unreal. He's a true freshman. Got it. Only one inning this year, and it was against Bama. 3 punch outs. The stuff was unbelievable. Like that's a kid that throw him in weekends. Like that kid looks ready. Really, really excited for that team. Joey Urban continues to just light it up. A 1.4 OPS is just absurd with 4 home runs, 16 RBI. This is just a complete ball club, right? And they're going to keep rolling. I'm really excited about this team.
And Russo hasn't even really got going yet. And once, like, if he gets going,
he's hitting 245. Yeah, he's at 700 OPS. Like that guy is going to mash at some point.
Yeah, Jason, you said you want to say something?
No, as a team, they're batting 290. So it's like they haven't reached their ceiling. Yeah. And the Sun Belt's good, but they don't play Coastal. I mean, we can talk about Coastal, but I mean, this may be like the hard part of their schedule. And nothing against, like, the Sun Belt's very good. We talk about that ad nauseum, but still, like, they play a very hard non-con on purpose to make it to where, like, the selection committee has to make that decision. And if they're not at their peak in the non-con, but they're still, kind of mowing people down, I mean, they have a very high ceiling for this team. Very high ceiling this year.
Yeah, they've won 10 straight. Again, their only loss is to probably I mean, you're talking about a kid who's jumped up in most people's board as the top 5 draft prospect now because of how good he has been and been able to get people out with the fastball in the zone. That's okay. You lose to Jackson, Florida. You don't feel that bad, and you played a good game there too. It wasn't even like it was a bad game to open the year. So 10 straight there for Southern Miss. We'll talk about how high they've ranked, jumped in our ratings. Let's talk about Miami and Florida. Like, that was the big game of the weekend, big series of the weekend. Florida takes 2, and then the third one's rained out. I know that I was very high on Miami going into this weekend. I'm still high on Miami, but Florida really looked the part of a top 10 team again. Like, they said, hey, our top 2 guys are going to be that good. Jason, that was good from those 2 guys, and King had to come out of the game even.
Yeah. So Miami, good fight Friday night, but they just really couldn't keep up with Peterson. Yeah. And, their bullpen just kind of let them down. I mean, that Siskar was really good, but kind of the moment he went out of the game, things just kind of went haywire. Probably the most impactful balk call I've seen in a while as I'm watching Northeastern hit a 2-run bomb versus LSU. Sorry, I'm distracted. Did you all see the balk?
Yeah.
Did you all think it was a balk? Just
no.
quick question. I didn't think so.
I did not. I thought
it was quick. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he came and he took a breath. He went and then threw. But you could literally see his shoulders like drop, stop, and pitch. Yeah. Like, for those who didn't know, I think it was 3-2, or it was 2 outs, and it was a long fly ball. But this was after, I want to say, walking the bases loaded or something, and then basically getting 3 straight outs. And so it was just this massive turn of events of hey, the game is still tied. Hey, let's go in, let's win this, to, oh shit, you mean they just scored and I now have to get this guy out again, and they don't? That was such a massive change in the game. So I mean, it was a really good 2 games, and I think it was a little bit of a coin flip, and it's just really unfortunate that I have in my notes the balk heard round South Beach. That was really for the moment in the game. I mean, literally, Miami was in the dugout, and everyone had to be like, go back out in the field. They called a balk. That was an interesting one, but a great series for the people who are watching.
And a strange call by the third base umpire. Like, the fact that he's the one that called that one, and it wasn't the home plate umpire. Nobody threw their hands up, and the fly ball goes to center, and we're like, okay, we're going to the bottom half. Wait, oh, nope, that's a balk somehow. And he was doing the same thing the whole time. So it didn't feel like it was a different approach. It didn't feel like he really went out there and sped up that last pitch. I mean, I don't know. I thought
I'll bet you anything terrible. That was a third base balk call, because I will say it was quick.
Yeah.
They always say come set. And he was coming set, but it was like bring it together, down, go. Bring it together, down, go. So it was very segmented. And it was,
Yeah.
as you said, it was the same every time. But I
Mhm.
bet, dollars to donuts, that third base coach was sitting there talking to the ump like, he's not coming set. He's not coming set. He's not coming set. And he did it again. And they got that. I would bet anything that's what happened.
It felt like the same cadence to me, but it is
Oh,
what
yeah,
it is. It's
it
an early
was.
game.
It was.
Good to go. Yeah, good to get out there. Good to go play those games. 2 big wins for Florida as they kind of needed something to get their way. Will, good on the offense. Hopefully they're seeing Cade Curlin come back at some point to help this offense more. But the fact of the matter is a lot of these Florida Gators kind of picked their game up. That 3-run home run in the top of the 9th was really what set it down on Friday and then really turned the tide there for Florida.
Yeah, and Brendan Lawson really picked up the slack this weekend. 3 for 3 on day 1, 1 for 3 on day 2. The biggest thing was, and I know Jason kind of alluded to it with Miami's bullpen, but Florida scored 8 runs in the 8th and 9th innings combined in both games. So really just the late game surges. These were both really, really tight games going into the 8th and 9th, and Florida found ways to put Miami away late on the road. I think that's the most impressive piece of this. And Miami, we talked about a lot what they did in the early portion of the season. Like, they just beat the hell out of teams, quite frankly, and you have to give respect to that. They finally ran into a really, really good team. And I mean, for what it's worth, like, Miami pitching struck out 16 Gators on game 2. So you strike out 16 guys, like, you pretty much set yourself up a pretty good shot at winning. And they lose 8-4. They give up 3 in the 9th, kind of got away from them. They played Bethune-Cookman
was
tomorrow.
Was it Evans on Saturday? Who was on Saturday? I can't remember.
Yes, it was Rob Evans.
Oh,
Rob Evans was fantastic.
He looked really good.
12 strikeouts. I know he had 5 earned runs, but probably the most impressive loss of the weekend. A really, really good outing for him. That's a really good sign. The bullpen's definitely got to pick things up. I know Bilka struggled, especially with the command piece of it. But, yeah, a really impressive weekend for Florida. I think we maybe undervalued them in the rankings the last couple of weeks, and this was a really good test for them to show out and take 2 on the road.
I know that I undervalued them, and I fixed that this week, but I was shocked because I just thought the offense was kind of blah, and it really was. But going out and beating a team like this, it means a big difference for them. Remember, though, as Miami fans, you still get Frank Menendez coming back at some point this season, which is going to be an enormous arm for you to get back. Probable at some point this season, looking more like April now versus the end of March, like I thought was. But a really good arm if you can get him back. That's going to make a big difference for you if you're a Miami fan. But Florida, kudos to you guys. Big win there. Let's talk about the Oregon Ducks going down and winning that Vegas tourney. Like, the loss was to UC Irvine. UC Irvine's a very good baseball team. Both teams went 2-1, but Oregon really looked the part again. They go out and they beat Arizona on Friday. They lose to UC Irvine, their first loss of the year, to a very quality opponent. Bullpen kind of gave up some stuff late in that game that maybe shouldn't have, and it kind of got away from them a little bit. But then on Sunday, beating Vanderbilt, and defensively, the Ducks looked really good on Sunday. Pitching-wise, they looked good. Win that game 6-4 with the 4 runs coming late for Vanderbilt. I was impressed, Jason.
Yeah. Cal Scolari fan base numero uno aquí. Yeah, I think he's got like a 0.5 ERA or something now. I don't know what it is. It's below 1. He's good. Yeah. They have a massive game coming up here against them and the Beavers. I think they have to show like we're legit, because I think that was part of the issue with them last year and why they didn't like get that super. Is it kind of felt like they are doing what they're doing now, where they're making noise and they're being good, but when they got like super tested, like they didn't like follow through as much. Yeah. Now they swept Oregon State. I can't remember last year. I know they
all
they
4,
did quite well.
3 the weekend and the midweek.
But there were other instances in which they didn't just like follow through, and I think this is them saying like, hey, we need to follow through. I think Oregon State is saying, like, can we swing some bats? So I mean, it's a really, really big week for I think the Ducks, and very similar to UCLA, they both know that they need to get their ducks in a row before conference season comes in, because that's when their RPI is just going to start to take a dip.
Yeah,
but I'm big old fans. They looked like by far and away the best team in Vegas, by far and away.
Yeah, and I think that surprised people because I thought I thought
Maybe.
UC Irvine's good, but Vanderbilt really was what people were highlighting, going, they're going to go 3-0. That didn't happen. They go 0-3 and don't win a single game down there. But the fact is, Oregon was good. The pitching was good again. And I think they had 6 or 7 different guys hit home runs down there. A lot of different players doing it. Maddox Maloney made some ridiculous plays at shortstop for this team also. He's a true 5-tool guy, just helping his draft stock as well.
Yeah, really another team that feels like they're just playing complete team baseball. All 3 starters right now, sub-3 ERA, combined for almost 60 strikeouts in, I think it's somewhere around 45 innings. So really, really good. The pitching staff in general has been really good, averaging well over a strikeout per inning, 3-to-1 K to walk ratio. A lot of good things coming out of the Ducks. I think it's going to be a really fun game on Tuesday against Oregon State. I have a feeling the Ducks pitching staff is going to strike out a lot of Beavers. But, we know that the Beavers pitching staff has been really good. So we might get a low-scoring affair. We'll see what happens out of that bullpen. Obviously, you're not going to get Dax. You're not going to get Kleinschmidt. So I'm really curious on that one. How does that midweek play out?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people are going to have their eyes on it Tuesday, and it's an early game Tuesday. I believe it's 3:00 West Coast time, so that it'll be 6 Coast Eastern, giving people an opportunity to watch both of these teams play. Can't wait for that one down at PK Park, and then Oregon goes to Purdue this weekend, so we'll see. Purdue's had some ups and downs this season, but again, Oregon needs to take care of those midweeks against Oregon State and against these big opponents. They've done that throughout the season. They only have the 1 loss so far. Now they go into Big Ten play and they need to dominate. That's what needs to happen. Go out there and really take care of business. I believe that they have a weekend series against UCSB, though, down at UCSB. So they have a game down there. Santa Barbara still weekend series is their only non-conference weekend schedule left for the rest of the season. So excited for that one as well. Let's talk about the 4 teams that dropped out of our poll this week, guys. Coastal Carolina, Oregon State, Vanderbilt, and Alabama all drop out. All have big concerns on one side of the ball or another. Which team has the easiest way to get back to the top 25, and which team you guys think is kind of just out there and not going to be back? They're out on an island, but they're not returning back to the top 25. Jason, I'll start with you on this one because I know we talked a little bit about it before we started the show today.
Yeah, I would say, and maybe this is me just doubling down, I would say the team that has the easiest way of getting back is Vanderbilt. Their offense is legit. Clearly, they went to sleep this weekend. Yeah. And, was it an aberration the first 2 weeks? But, I mean, they had 4 or 5 straight run rules. Their offense was like a wagon, as Will likes to say. And you still have Connor Finnell, one of the best pitchers in baseball, going on Friday nights.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've got the pieces, so to speak, and they also have the schedule. So you tie in the fact that their RPI is going to be good regardless because of what their strength of schedule is going to be, their talent. I think they have the ability. Now, will it manifest? I don't know, but I think they would have the easiest route, the most difficult. And I'm sure some Beaver out there is just going to, turn over a table after I say this, but I think it's Oregon State. I think they have, arguably the best player in college baseball in Whitney, but then a ton of question marks. Even Kleinschmidt didn't look that good.
Easton hasn't been. He's 0-2 this year. He hasn't really got
so
it going.
Like we had talked about at the beginning of the year, they have maybe one of the best rotations in college baseball. It's been good. Really, it's the only reason why they're above 500 right now is because of the pitching staff. But the hitting is arguably the worst in Power 5 right now. I mean, I know they're independent, but you know what I mean when I say those Power 5 conferences. I mean, it's pretty much sub 200 in every 200 nationally in every single metric you can imagine. So it's combine that with the fact that they're independent, and this was kind of almost similar to UCLA, where you had to ace those early season tests to make it to where if you play a UC Irvine at UC Irvine, it's not going to hurt UCI. It's not going to hurt Irvine's RPI because, hey, we're playing a top 5 RPI at home. So it doesn't you don't get that kind of circular logic you get with the RPI. If you don't start off strong and if you're in the 50s, then if you go to a Cal Poly, that's no longer technically a good loss for a Cal Poly, and it may actually drop their RPI. And so then it almost again just becomes like this. Once you're in a bad spot from an RPI, it's harder to lift yourself up if you're not playing teams that were already up in that echelon with the RPI to begin with. So I think combining the fact that offense is struggling, unsure about the schedule, unsure about really beyond Dax Whitney, I'd say Oregon State's the one that's a difficulty for me.
And I know people want to say, hey, they were 6-3 last year at this time, right? The same record, whatever. The offense is much, much, much maligned this year compared to where it was last year. Last year it was hitting, it was doing the things, it was hitting home runs, extra base hits. They have 19 extra base hits so far this season. That's not going to do it. Like 19 extra base hits is not going to do it in this climate of baseball. Will top 25 teams have dropped out: Coastal, Oregon State, Vanderbilt, and Alabama. Your concerns and who you think gets back in the top 25?
I think it's the same logic. I think it's Alabama. You play
Okay.
the SEC schedule,
SEC.
so that always helps. And Bama has just been weird. I wrote about them in my top 25 update article. It's like when this team looks good, they look really, really good, and when they've looked bad, it's like the wheels come off. Like I can't figure them out. They feel like a very inconsistent team. And they felt like that last year. Like it felt like there were weekends last year where this team was knocking on the door. Like we can see this team in a super regional. There was other weekends where is this even a top 25 team? They're a team for me that I think all season is going to hover between, I'll say 20 and 30. Like I feel like they're going to be in that range all season. It's just a matter of, can they put together a few good weekends in a row? Can they put together enough good weekends, get to that? I mean, I'm looking at their schedule right now. They open up with Kentucky, then they've got Florida and Auburn, Oklahoma. Like they've got a good schedule. So
Tough
are
start.
they going to get to? They have a really tough finish outside of South Carolina towards the end. And I mean, is that team going to finish with 13 SEC wins? It's going to be close, quite honestly. I think it is. I really think it's going to be close. I think they have the easiest path again. The SEC schedule always favors that. Hardest to get back in is Coastal. And we talked about the Sun Belt. The Sun Belt is very good. They don't get Southern Miss, and I think that's the biggest one. I know we've mentioned Troy. This Troy team is not the same Troy team as it was last year, so I don't even know if I want to consider that at this moment until I see some more out of them. Like even a Texas State, I think is going to give them some trouble. I really do. It's a really young Texas State team, but the freshman pitching has turned up to be a little bit better than I think we thought, and they've got some transfers that have come through and been really, really good pieces for them, like Jackie Stewart from Texas. He came in and he's just been mashing for Texas State. They got East Carolina this weekend, which feels like two programs right now that are trending down. I mean, Coastal really did salvage their weekend. Yeah, like Coastal really salvaged their weekend, beating Ole Miss 9-2. Like it was nice to see the offense come alive a little bit. This is a really big weekend this week. I mean, they've got North Carolina on Tuesday, East Carolina on the weekend, and then Wake Forest on the following Tuesday. Like this is a huge 7-day stretch for Coastal. It's kind of put up or shut up time for Coastal, in my opinion. It's like, is the offense good enough to carry the boats while they get healthy on the pitching side? And we know there's some guys that aren't coming back this season, but you know, there's always something to be said for injuries, and I understand that. But right now, this just isn't a top 25 team. I think it's just as simple as that, regardless of where you put them preseason.
Do they play Arkansas State in the conference?
Yes,
okay.
They do.
At
Arkansas
they
State,
look really good.
Road.
Arkansas State's looked good this season. I know that they were Jared's, another one of our hosts. They were one of his, preseason picks to be one of the bubble teams that could get back in there and battle for the Sun Belt. And the fact is, I don't think that Coastal has the weaponry on offense to make a run at this thing. If they get those guys back late, they're Friday, Saturday guys. If they get Fluky and they get Johnson back, maybe they make that run late, and they'd have to get to 6th place in the Sun Belt to get into the tournament. But honestly, I don't see the weapons offensively there for them. Like, I didn't have Ole Miss ranked as a top 25 team for a reason, because I don't think that they're a top 25 team outside of Hunter Elliott, and the offense is good, and Hunter Elliott's good. But the fact is, when you play them on Sunday, that's not the best roster. Like that's you kind of just drop down. That's just not going to be there for you. So I really think that overall, the team is Coastal that's not going to be back in there. I think Oregon State could possibly get in there. They're going to have to go on some kind of run. I know that they play at UC Irvine. I know the rest of that lineup kind of goes throughout, but Oregon State has to find offense, They haven't yet. They've been really, really struggling on that side of it. And then as far as Alabama and Vanderbilt, whichever one of those teams wins 13, 14, 15 SEC games, they're going to be in. They're going to be in the top 25 because they both have enough talented rosters. And Alabama, if they get healthy, boom, they're in it. If Vanderbilt hits like they can, boom, they're in it. So I think either one of those, you guys are both right. Both of those teams could be back in the top 25. I think Oregon State and Coastal both have really hard runs, and they're both going to have to make unbelievable winning streaks, I think, to get back into this thing. And Oregon State fans are going to hate to hear it. This is the worst offense performance that I've seen from Oregon State in a decade. Like, it's just not there. I knew that they were going to try to play small ball, but as Jason talked about, before, they're not. They're hitting bad. They're bottom 200 nationally in most offensive stats. So the fact is, bad.
They have 5 stolen bases. You can't call yourself a small ball team and have 5 stolen bases through the first 3 weekends. That just means you're just not scoring runs. I think they're like 260th in the country in runs per plate appearance. So small ball, gorilla ball, whatever ball you want to call it, you have to score runs.
Yeah, and they're striking out a lot. The offense is striking out a lot. Let's talk about the pitchers of the week we had here for us here at the College Baseball Show. Chris Lavonis at Wake and Michael Sharman from Clemson. They split the award here, fellas. Will, I'll let you start on these guys. 2 really good pitching performances, and we were split down the middle. We couldn't make that decision this week.
Yeah, and quite honestly, both are deserved. Chris Lavonis was essentially perfect outside of an error on defense. He was just unreal through his performance. And there's not enough good things you can say about Michael Sharman, especially with Clemson dropping game 1 to South Carolina. That was a massive performance, a complete game. I believe it was 86 pitches. Someone correct me if I'm wrong if it was less than that, but
it was 86, which is just dumb for 9 innings.
Yeah, insane. Like, I know we talk about the Greg Maddux complete game is sub 100 pitches. Like, he wasn't even sniffing 100 pitches. It was unreal. I believe in the breakdown he only had one. I think he had 2.
Jared saying 78 pitches. Is that right?
78.
Was it 78? I thought it was 80. 78. So less than that
one inning above 10 pitches, and it was 11. Like, that's unbelievable efficiency. Like, again, not even sniffing that 100 mark. As an offense, as South Carolina, I don't know how you just don't see more pitches at that point. Like, when you get to the 6th inning and he's rolling at 40-something pitches, it's like, all right, maybe we got to see a few. But that wasn't the case. And especially after Clemson dropped game 1, that was a huge performance because, I mean, really, the wheels could have come off quick there.
A part of me is like, what are we doing in South Carolina? Like, you can, if you have 5 minutes, you can literally watch the game. Pitching Ninja on Twitter. I think it's like 4 minutes 55, something like that. It's every single pitch he threw, and it's wild the number of times that it's pitch swing, contact. It's like take a pitch. It was wild. To basically have a literal 4K per 9 and to go a complete game it's crazy. A part of it is BABIP. Like, they hit some balls hard, and let your defense win some games for you. But it's interesting because we do a weekly, and he didn't show up on like my first pull. I was like, oh God, we're gonna get killed. And then I started like digging more, and I was like, well, I mean, his FIP wasn't that, like, basically, like, he just got guys out. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, the same mentality with small ball, offenses. Like, you just get people out. Like, so kudos to him because he did it incredibly efficiently. But yeah, another part of me is like, South Carolina, I mean, you got to see some pitches because you won 7-0 Friday night or something like that. So that they used their pitchers quite a bit on Friday. Yeah. So if you just would have given it a little bit of time, you probably would have set yourself up a lot better on Sunday. But oh well.
Yeah, the performance really set Clemson to be able to win Sunday, right? Because then they didn't have to burn all those arms, and it was huge. Yeah. I think that comeback was just a big one. In a rivalry, you're going to lose a game in a rivalry every once in a while. It's not going to kill you. We talked about that when we did the Saturday morning show. And then coming back and winning both those was huge. Like, that's what Clemson had to do, and it was big for him to go out there and pitch that game and be able to keep just throwing to contact. That's what he did. Like, right? Throw to contact. It was hit hard a few times. Right at guys. He might have got lucky. Maybe if those find gaps, it's a different ball game. But throw, pitch to contact, give yourself an opportunity. Don't walk guys. That's what he did, and it was a good performance there to get the win.
Do we see Texas State transfer Valentine Friday night closing it out?
And he
South
did that last
Carolina?
year too. He did it against
Oh my
A&M
God!
last year.
Yeah.
People were surprised that happened. It was like he did the
It's like, no,
exact
you
same thing
didn't.
against
Did you
Texas
not
A&M.
see like week 2 versus Texas A&M? Yeah. He was like shaking his head at the dugout and like barking, and I was like, dude, this is game 1. Like you don't yell scoreboard in the first half. Like
Yeah.
it was
Wait till you take 2
it
games.
was a choice. Yeah, it was a choice.
Especially when you're struggling anyway and you found your footing for once. It's like, okay, we found ourselves.
Yeah.
Jump to
Fun
freshman of
times.
the week. We had AJ Putty from Illinois, man. This young man has been terrific for the Illini so far this season. He's been big, 6'4" first baseman for them. Another really solid week for him, hitting 400, another home run and 9 RBIs for them, as they've been now on a 5-game win streak. So kudos to Illinois and AJ Putty there. Player of the week, guys, Will Gasparino. Will, I'll start again with you because you saw him live. Just the at-bats seemed good. I mean, there was a lot of guys that had really huge performances this year, and this week was really good for a lot of guys. But I think we had to go with him. Just, the home run number now is insane. The fact that he did it in a big boy ballpark and he just looked the part. And you guys said he's hitting 8th on this team.
Unbelievable what that kid is doing. I mean, when he connects with the ball, when the hands get extended, it is loud, and he absolutely crushed baseballs. The most fascinating stat about him to this point, so he's got 10 home runs so far. He went 5 for 11 this weekend with 4 home runs. He only has 2 singles this season.
Yeah.
So he's got 14 hits, 10 home runs, 2 singles. Like, this kid is just mashing, and everything he's hitting hard is getting out of the ballpark, and it's so impressive to see. It's so much fun. Coach Savage raved about him, and the kid is he was like a kid in a candy shop this weekend talking to him. Like, he was just excited about things happening. He's really happy to hit a couple bombs against Texas A&M and or not a couple bombs, a couple of big RBI against Texas A&M. So just he's in a really good spot, and I think you're going to see him hit at the bottom of that order all season long. Some strikeouts might come with it, but again, I mean, he's on pace for like 30 plus bombs right now.
So, I think he's on pace for 50 for the season.
Yeah.
So that's dumb. I don't think he keeps that.
That'll do.
Yeah, but his exit velocity
So
for the
much
week. His exit velocity for the week was 102 average. That was his average exit velocity on the week. 102. That's insane, Jason.
Yeah. And the wild thing is he may be the best defensive center fielder in college baseball.
Really good.
I don't.
Lucas Moore.
I've been seeing a lot of things about draft. This guy, his draft stock has got to be going through. Now he still has a lot of swing and miss, but the pros want, can you get me outs when other people can't, and can you hit home runs? Can you get extra base hits? And he does both of those in spades. So I'd have to think that his draft stock is just going through the roof at the moment. And at the end of the day, these is probably like the 2 hardest weekends of the year for him.
Yeah.
Like, in a massive park like that. We're not at Lindsey Nelson where a hiccup goes out. Like, this is the biggest field they'll pay in. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it is the biggest, but I assume it is. You're not going to see 417 to right center field like you will at most places. So it's truly wild what he's done to begin the year against a very good TCU team, against a gauntlet of an SEC schedule, basically of a weekend, because Tennessee wanted to prove themselves. Texas A&M wanted to prove themselves. Like these weren't like, like it's a Tuesday, like nobody cares. No, these guys wanted to prove it. So very, very impressive all the way around.
Yeah, and everybody wanted a piece of UCLA. They all wanted to get after number one.
Oh, yeah.
And they couldn't do it. So big kudos there to those guys for this weekend. Awesome. Okay, so before we get into the top 25 here, I was able to sit down and have an outstanding interview with Easton Talt, the right fielder from Oregon State. Man, he just had brilliant things to say about his teammates, Dax Whitney and Jacob Galloway. So give it a listen here, guys, and then we'll jump into the top 25 teams. Welcome back to another episode of the College Baseball Show here, brought to you by Just Baseball Media. Got an awesome behind the scenes here with you with Easton Talt from Oregon State. Easton, how we doing this morning, man?
Feeling great. Glad to be on.
Yeah, buddy. Happy to have you on here. Lots and lots of things going on in the world of college baseball. and trip off of Omaha last year. But tell us a little bit about how you got to Oregon State and why you chose the Beavs.
Yeah, so initially I was actually committed to UW. A lot of people don't know that. I committed to UW as a sophomore in high school, right before COVID. And then after COVID hit, I moved to Arizona when I was 16 with my dad and got a lot of exposure out there, got a lot better at baseball, I think. And then I decided to decommit because of some coaching changes at UW and Oregon State, and a couple of the schools hit me up. Chose to visit 3 schools, Oregon State being one of them, and it just felt like home. The coaches were great. The players on the team were welcoming. It was an environment that just felt like home.
Yeah, I mean, let's go into that, right? Playing at home last year in that super regional in front of that crowd at Goss. Speak just a little about how, the Goss faithful are just empowering to Beavers.
Yeah, I mean, with a smaller stadium compared to some of the other schools, we still have ranked one of the best environments in college baseball, and it's actually insane. Beaver Nation is very, very loud, always on our side, and it's truly amazing. I mean, that super regional, you were probably there, super loud all the time, and I mean that gave us a huge advantage. There's nothing like playing in front of Goss.
Yeah, been in a lot of games there, and it was one of the loudest ever. I know talking to Coach Dorman and the other coaches, they're like, it was actually just an advantage for us because all of a sudden Florida State fell out of it because of that
Yeah,
fan base.
for sure. Yeah.
So it was wild. I mean, the comeback to get into Omaha. Talk just a little bit about how important it was for you guys to get to Omaha last year and kind of how you build off that with this team that's coming back this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here for 4 years now, or this is my fourth year, and same goal every year, and we finally got there. So that was huge. It was a lot of hard work and dedication. And then for this upcoming team, like having someone like Dax and me and Craig and AJ and those guys that have been there and can talk to the newcomers about, how amazing it was, how it was like the best part of our college careers. Like it makes every one of those new guys strive to want that more than anything else. So I think it's a little bit of just that want that we instill into these newcomers, and I think the want is almost as important as the skill.
Yeah, I mean, the Beaver fans showed up. It was loud. Those games in Omaha are amazing. I found myself walking on the field after the games and still taking it on. I've been there multiple years, and it's still just every single time with the Beaver faithful, it's crazy and chaos, and I love it. Uh, Speak just a little bit about, Easton, you made 2 of the best plays in college baseball defensively last year. And, we're still talking about it. We're still using the clips and Beaver stuff today. Talk just a little bit how it was to go out there in those big ballparks and go rob a couple home runs, man.
Yeah, I mean that was huge. In the past, I emphasized on getting better in the outfield and kind of being a super athlete out there. So being able to do that and show it off was really cool. Especially the one in Globe Life, close game against Baylor in the 7th inning. um, Kind of just almost jumped over the wall. It felt like, and I think both times I blacked out a little bit. I threw the ball in about 100 miles an hour to my cutoff guy. It was awesome. And actually doing it back to back games as well. That was something else too. So it was that season altogether with the plays was awesome for me.
Yeah, people ask me all the time, like, man, has Easton been out there long? I'm like, listen, he had to learn how to play outfield. This was not a
Yeah.
natural outfielder. Taught himself how to play outfield. Great outfield coaches. Got Brady there teaching now more things.
hmm
Talk just a little bit about how it feels to be like that next Beaver outfielder in this line of tremendous guys that have come through the program, and even playing with Gavin Turley last year, another one of those fantastic outfielders. Seems like the Beavers continue to just produce these guys that get to that next level and produce.
Yeah, no, for sure. Obviously, kudos to the coaching staff. We keep bringing in great coaches. In the past, I've had Mitch Canham as my outfield coach. You don't see the head coach often working individually with a one position player, So Mitch Canham, you have Brady Casper coming in as an ex-Beav. And then even like guys like Jacob Melton come back and hitting the cages in the fall, and you get to pick his brain about defense, about reads, about, he was in the big leagues last year with the Astros. So like being able to pick brains of people like that, and then having a great coaching staff like we have, it's amazing, and it's really easy to develop in a system like this.
Yeah, so much people around the program want to give back. They come back, they show you guys things. It's fantastic how many Major League Beavs come back on campus and
Yeah.
are there in the fall time. Speaking of fall, tell us a little bit about what you worked on in your game here this fall. I mean, going into your senior year here, very important year for you in the Beavs. Talk a little bit about how you just got a little bit better this offseason.
Yeah. Summer I was taking a little bit of time off, and then as soon as my body felt right after that long season, I got right into it. Kind of just emphasizing confidence and longevity. So just being confident throughout the whole season. Swing feels really good. Obviously, here and there making some adjustments and whatnot. But yeah, working with the coaches every day, coming in at 10 a.m. after the lift with Ryan Gibson, and just hitting with him, picking his brain about different fields and stuff like that. And then, obviously I've already mentioned Brady, but, getting in with him and keeping my defense on a lock, playing a little bit of center field, playing a little bit of right field. But yeah, kind of just making sure I stay confident this year.
Yeah, Easton, you're one of those true five-tool guys, right? You can go steal a bag, you can lay down a bunt, you can hit a home run. Just a variety of things you do offensively and defensively. Talk just a little about what it means to be just so well-rounded and how you just keep that up and don't get too heavy on one side.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is I love competition. So we'll do a lot of that is athleticism, obviously. So we'll do competition in the weight room, jump height, explosiveness, and then we set out the lasers on the field and do 30-yard dashes. And a lot of that is just my competitiveness, wanting to be the fastest kid on the team, wanting to jump the highest. So it's a lot of competitiveness in me, and also I love to work hard. I got taught that at a young age when I was a freshman in high school. My older brother Jaden Talt, he instilled that into me when I was young, and I really appreciate him for that as well. So a lot of it's hard work and me wanting to be competitive.
Yeah, the competition level is high. Anytime I come down to Corvallis and see you guys practice, it's like everybody's giving it their all every day. Does that make you guys better, especially in the fall when you're seeing just your own guys and compete against them? But you guys compete hard.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like you look at it like you see Craig at first base, me in right field, AJ in second base. You think for sure like these guys are going to start, but then if we look behind us, we have guys behind us like the newcomers, Nine Hayes, Bryson Glasgow, Cameron Beck, and then we're like, those guys are good. Like we need to get better. And then that pushes them too because they see us like, oh, they're decent, tall. AJ Singer and Jacob Craig, they're real. We need to get better. So it kind of just it's a snowball effect of like when we get better, they get better, and then when we see them like creeping up, we're like, all right, we need to go, let's go. So definitely the competitive level in the clubhouse and on the field. It's family, but we push each other, so it's good.
Yeah. You spoke a little bit about, these new guys that came in. Ton of talent. Might be the deepest offensive team we've seen in a long time for the Beavs. Talk just a little about somebody that surprised you maybe this offseason and you're like, wow, this guy's got it.
Yeah, there's a couple guys that come to mind. Obviously, I think Bryson Glasgow. He came in. He had a really good swing. He had a really good summer as well, so that was intriguing as well. But then you look at like he hits a double in the gap and bend, and you look at him run. I'm like, whoa, he gets moving a little bit. So that was surprising. We have a really deep infield this year with Paul Vasquez. Obviously, he's a returner, but he's good. Cooper Vance coming in, old guy, really good swing, really buttery in the infield. And then Jacob Galloway behind the dish really surprised me, actually. He really solid behind the dish defensively, and then that dude just never swings and misses. He makes contact and never chases. He's a gamer. It's actually unreal. And then the outfield, we got new guys. Obviously, Adam Haight coming back, and then Nyan Hayes coming from Grambling State. He's really made an impact this fall, especially defensively. He's nails out there. And then you got Eli Grease Smith coming in, super fast kid, and swings the bat well. So there's a lot. I know I gave you a lot just then, but there's a lot to look forward to in this offense this year.
Yeah, I've been trying to tell folks, I'm like, listen, this may not be the offense that hits 100 home runs, but they're going to score runs, and it's going to be a lot of the old school Beavers. Do you guys look back at any of those like '06, '07 teams? Like they won national championships. They didn't have big thumpers. They didn't have guys that hit 20 home runs. Do you guys take a little bit of that and kind of put it towards your game this year? I know Mitch has been big on being able to do a lot of little things.
Yeah, for sure. And Gibson, our hitting coach, really hits on that a lot. And for me personally, me, I love to lay down a bunt. So this is my type of offense. Lay down a bunt, steal a base. So I'm stoked. I love hitting homers too, but I love the small ball. I love that type of baseball. And we even last year, like obviously we had a home run heavy team. I think we might have broke the Oregon State record again, but still, like last year, I remember some of the guys we'd watch a game in '07 and be like, wow, this is baseball. Like, this is awesome. Even 18 a little bit, like people hitting the ball backside on the ground, moving runners over. Like, we love that type of stuff here, even if we're able to hit home runs as well. So I think we're all excited to kind of implement that into our game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a well-rounded offense this year. I cannot wait. Speak a little bit about your pitching staff that you get to play defense behind. Does that give you confidence out there every day when you're like, these guys are going to get outs for us?
I think with this pitching staff, there's not going to be a whole lot of defense being played. I think there's going to be a lot of punch outs, a lot of swing and misses. It's I've been here for 4 years, and I've been behind a lot of really good pitching staffs, especially last year. Like, that pitching staff got us to Omaha. Um, it's going to be even better this year, and maybe 2 times better. It's, we got Dax Whitney, you got Kleinschmidt, you got Eric Segura. That top three is, and I know you've already said it, but I stand behind it. That's the best rotation in baseball. And then our bullpen, we got guys like Noah Scott coming from Iowa Western. That he's nasty, 94, 95 with a sinker, like, gross. And then you got AJ coming back. He's gonna be a huge piece. You got people like Albert Robles that just throws from the funkiest slot with the UFO changeup that he has. Like, we just built on it, and it's gonna be scary to see.
Yeah, this full depth of this pitching staff is ridiculous. I mean, guys like Wyatt Queen are going to be a weekday starter when he can
Yeah.
start anywhere else on the weekend, but he wants to be a part of the Beavers, and I think that's a
Yeah.
big thing. Facing these guys in the fall, Easton, does that make you better when you get into spring ball, just facing this tremendous pitching staff all fall?
For sure. Yeah, like, we just got back from spring break, and my first lives last weekend, I had to face, or I guess I got to face Dax and Klein back to back. And that, like, I'm not going to see those guys during season at all. So being able to see competition like that is going to make, surprise coming in February, like, way easier when you have to face a guy like that. Like, yeah, definitely facing this type of competition makes you a lot better.
Yeah. Is there a weekend series or any series you're looking forward to the most this year when you go on there and circle it?
Oh, wow. I mean, obviously, this isn't a series, but I always look forward to Surprise. Surprise is so fun. My family lives in Arizona, so I like it. A lot of family coming to the games, and then obviously, also not a series, but a tournament. The sorry, not Globe Life, Frisco, and then Round Rock as well. Those are going to be a blast. Super excited for that. And then lastly, I think the one series I am looking forward to is Hawaii. I have a buddy that plays for Hawaii, and I'm excited to play them at home.
Yeah, I am. That one's circled on mine. I know I have big connections to the Hawaii staff as well, so I'll definitely be there the whole weekend for that one. Cannot wait. Easton, anything you do, game day rituals or any food rituals? Because, like, for me, if I didn't have my Red Vines and my Diet Mountain Dew and my Pilot G2, I was not riding a lineup that day. It was not going to work.
Yeah, actually, funny enough, I am superstitious, but about different things. Like, I'm not like I have to do this for the game. I'm more of if I wear one pair of cleats and go 2 for 3, I'm wearing that same pair of cleats the next day. And then, I'll drink an energy drink before the game. But other than that, I'm not a huge, like, I have to do this or I'm not gonna do good today.
Gotcha. All
Yeah.
right, Easton, some tough questions. They're still fun. One here, yourself, Singer, Craig at first. You guys are these seniors that are coming back, and the leadership kind of falls on you guys. You guys have had this huge line of just leadership throughout all of Beaver Nation. Like, you've just seen it year to year. These guys step up the next season. What do you take from those leaders past, and what do you bring into this year for yourself?
Yeah, I think Craig, AJ, and I and even the other AJ Hutchinson,
Yeah.
being here for the 4th year is huge, and we do a really good job of leading by example rather than just telling you what to do. But yeah, you got people like Ivar Arquette was kind of the same way. He wasn't the loudest, and he didn't tell you what to do, but he led by example. He did what was right, and we have a pillar here, do the right thing, and I guess that is kind of what the leaders here go by. Doing the right thing always. And then you got a guy like Boz that I got to play with that was quite the opposite. Like, he was very loud, but he did it the right way. He was a leader here. So being able to learn from those guys and doing it ourselves, even a little bit last year, you saw it from AJ, you saw it from me, you saw it from Craig, kind of leading as juniors as well. I think that's big for us being here for the 2nd year leading.
Yeah, it's important because we just get these guys into Corvallis, and it's really important to keep passing that legacy on. Do you guys speak a lot about legacy, or do you kind of just look into this season, or is it kind of a mix of everything?
No, I mean, we want Beaver Nation. We want, like, the future Beavs to be how '06 Beavs were. We want that type of tradition to stay as like when you come, we want you to be a Beaver. It's not we want a new set of traditions. We want it all to be the same. So yeah, we try to implement that for sure on newcomers.
Yeah, yeah. Place that you love to eat in Corvallis, man? Any particular place? I know for me, whenever I come down, it's Local Boys. I mean, I'm a big Hawaiian boy, so I love going
Yeah.
there. But any particular place you love?
Nah, Local Boys is really good. If I'm gonna go sit somewhere, I love Block 15 personally. They have a really good burger and a really good fries as well. So Block 15 is a good one.
Yeah, Block 15 is great too. So not too many places wrong in Corvallis to go
Yeah.
to, but it's great. Any ballpark food that you like, man?
Ooh, that's a tough one. See,
Yeah.
recently I've been in a hot dog type of trend. So I like it. I like the little hot dog, mustard on it. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. So this has been a big topic, and I know last year I got roasted a lot. Mayonnaise on a hot dog, yes or no?
Dude, yes. Thank
Thank you.
gosh. I'm a huge mayonnaise and mustard. I wasn't gonna say it initially because I didn't want you to be like, whoa, mayonnaise. But mayonnaise and mustard on a hot dog is so good. And even like on a brat too. Oh my gosh. So good.
Yeah, underrated. People were blowing me up saying that I'm crazy by putting. No, I'm telling you, try
No,
mine. I'm glad. I'm glad you're on my side, Easton.
it's
Now you're
really
Lambo
good.
boy. I got this.
It's really good.
Oh man. Anything else you want to share with Beaver Nation here as we get ready for this 2026 season? I know we're only like 28 days away now.
Yeah, no, we're close. No, I just, bring the heat, bring the energy. It's gonna be a really fun season. We hope to go back to Omaha, and that's the goal. I'm excited for the season. You guys should be too.
Yeah, I think that everybody's excited. This countdown's been going crazy. Just very, very excited for this season. One more question I got for you that's pretty fun. Anything you like to do outside of the game? I saw you were golfing the other day. I've seen you go fishing.
Yeah,
What's your favorite hobby outside the game, man?
yeah. I just picked up golfing this summer, and I've been going pretty much every day I can. So golfing is a big one for me right now. I love, getting away from the game is always good. Taking your mind off at bats and whatnot. So I've been golfing a lot recently.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I mean, anytime you're up here in Bend, feel free, hit me up, come golf. I'll take you out there, man. We
That'd
got
be
lots of
awesome.
golf up here.
Perfect.
Well, thanks again for coming on, Easton. Cannot wait for Oregon State Beavers. It's going to be a tremendous season this year, and we're going to get after it, man. 28 days.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right, that was my man Easton Talt. I love talking to him. It was great to have him on the podcast and be able to talk some baseball with him out west here in Oregon. I know that's where I'm from, guys, so I was able to get him on pretty easily. Love Easton. Thank you for coming on the show. Hopefully, you guys enjoy that. Go listen to all of our player and coach interviews that we have up on the website. If you guys have not read and listened to those up on our YouTube. Let's jump into the top 25, guys. Let's talk about some of these new teams that jumped in here. West Virginia, number 25, UTSA, 24, USC, 23. I'm going to skip 22, which is Virginia, and go to Wake Forest, 21. So those are the four new teams that came in. Will, tell me a little bit about the 25, West Virginia, 24, UTSA, and then I'll jump to you, Jason, for USC at 23 and Wake Forest at 21.
Yeah, West Virginia has been knocking on the door since, quite frankly, the preseason. They were a team that has received votes in every single one of our polls so far, and it was just kind of waiting for them to break through. Like, I know weekend one they went 3-0, but you get the weird doubleheader against Georgia Southern where you win by one. You don't win super convincingly, but then they go out and they beat Ben Blair and Liberty and quite frankly smoke them. They lose game 3, but again, it's a doubleheader. We've talked about that before. Doubleheaders in college baseball are so bizarre that you just can't weight it as much, in my opinion. And a loss is a loss, and it's a weekend loss, and I know that's where people really put their money, but it's a doubleheader, so a weird one. And then, of course, they lose the third game to Kennesaw State this weekend, who's a really good mid-major, but they really took it to them on Friday and Saturday. This offense, this is a really, really good team. They're hitting above 300 as a team. Some transfers that came in. Matt Enoch, I believe is how you say his last name, from Ohio has been really, really good. Matthew Graveline has been really good for them. Gavin Kelly, who got limited playing time for them, has been unreal. He's almost a 1.2 OPS guy right now, and he was a guy that I talked about this preseason. It's like he didn't really play much last year. He's got to take a big step. The starting pitching has been ridiculous. Dawson Montesa has been ridiculously good, 26 strikeouts in 17 innings. Chance and Cole, Max Yell, all these guys have been really, really good for them. And this is all without Chase Meyer for the most part. He's only got 3 innings so far. So you're still getting him back. He's still getting ramped up, I assume, as his role will be. Honestly, he might stick in the bullpen again this year. Like, he came into the season being talked about as the Friday night guy. right now he might just be another a bullpen guy again. And not that that's a bad thing. He was unbelievable for them out of the bullpen last year. The stuff is crazy. Coach Saban's is truly one of the best in the sport right now, especially when you're talking about younger coaches. The program's putting a bunch of money into it. It's just a really fun team. I'm very happy that they're in it. I think it's well deserved and maybe a little bit overdue, quite frankly. But they're in this week. We've also got UTSA in this week. We just got the news today that Robert Orlowski is out for the season.
Yeah.
That is a big loss. But I have to say is that they're 10-1 right now, and they've done that without him. He got hurt in that first start of the season. We were kind of waiting on the news. Finally broke. Really unfortunate news. Really sour news. You hate to see that with a team that was in a super regional last year. I mean, this is still a really good team, though. I know they lost to Texas State this weekend, but they really took it to DBU last week. They beat up on Coastal. They beat up on Baylor, who I think is a really solid Big 12 team. They beat up on Ohio State. I mean, this team is just going to get better, right? That they brought back a ton on offense from last season, especially Andrew Detzlefin or Defetzlin. I cannot remember how to say his last name. Very bad at his last name. But a really good team nonetheless. Again, you lose your ace. You lose a guy that it felt like when you gave the ball to him, you were going to go out and get a win. Really curious to see how that holds up long term. But for the time being, they've been really strong. So I think this is also a really well-deserved spot.
Yeah, I think that they deserve to be in there. I think it's going to be really hard for them to hold into the top 25 now with the news that we heard losing the Friday night starter for the rest of the season. That's tough. Jason, USC jumps in here. They've been really good. One of the last undefeated teams left here. And Wake Forest has worked their way back in after a shaky start. Start with USC and then jump to that Wake Forest team.
Yeah, so for people who maybe either don't stay up late enough to watch the Trojans or if they're just not seeing them on, probably the best 1-2 combination in college baseball right now with Gov and Edwards. So we have Gov as our number one pitcher in all of – I mean, again, it's not about ability. I still think Whitney's the best pitcher in college baseball. But in terms of, like, production, Gov is the best at Govil. They call him Gov. Is the top pitcher right now in baseball. So the fact that they have a 1-2 of him and Edwards, and I think Edwards was the Big Ten pitcher of the week. I can't remember one of the two. So basically, you can just like flip a coin, and one of those guys is going to be the Big Ten pitcher of the week. It feels like. So as someone who has enjoyed the game for a while, it's really neat to see what Stankiewicz is doing. Coming from Grand Canyon, I think everyone was like, will he bring that winning tradition over? And, a few years back, I saw them live when they were at Arlington. And I remember it was a little bit of a struggle. That was the weekend where TCU actually swept it. And it was like TCU and USC, and I think it went to extras, and TCU won it on a walk-off. And I just remember thinking, like, well, I know they're going to be back because I guess Stankiewicz, who's, did such a great job at Grand Canyon. It felt like it's taken a few years, but now it feels like they've got those ingredients to really start to cook. So we've talked about the Big Ten of being an Oregon versus a UCLA. You have to factor them in now. I mean, with that rotation, they can beat anybody in a 3-game set. So I don't want to give them like their crown just yet because again, like the schedule has been mild. Once if it picks up, when it picks up, they'll have to prove it again. But that's just the way baseball is. You just have to keep proving yourself throughout the season. Wake Forest, for me, I think one of the big questions was what is going to happen with the pitching staff after Moose, goes to Duke, and like, are they going to kind of continue the dominance that they've really built while they've been there? And 207 opponent batting average. So they lost. Who did they lose in the portal to Texas? LaFew. They lost LaFew from Wake Forest also to Texas. So I was really wondering if they were going to be able to replicate what and not only that they've actually improved it a little bit. We talk about teams striking out too much at the plate. They don't strike out. They've got a 0.8 K per walk. So when you get guys out and you have an elite pitching staff, and you don't strike out, and you have like a close to, as we'll like to say, a 1. OPS. I think they got a 950 team OPS. They've got all the pieces to compete in the ACC, and I do think the ACC is kind of wide open this year. I know everyone loves Georgia Tech, and I think Georgia Tech is very good. I think the ACC struggled a little bit this weekend, specifically associated with Arlington. I think they have, who's going to be that team that kind of steps up with, with Georgia Tech. It looks like Miami struggled a little bit. Everyone was really liking the way that Virginia Tech was starting off, and now then they struggled in Arlington, and so I think it'll be unique to see, but I think they're very well set up to at least contend for that ACC. And I would still lean quite heavily towards Georgia Tech, but I do feel like that Wake Forest is jumping more into that mix.
Yeah, and the thing is, their stud on the mound, Blake Morningstar, hasn't even been a superstar yet for them.
No.
He hasn't even been great. 6+ ERA right now, 1-1 in the season. Chris Livonis has been nice. He's been really, really good. Been effective for them going after hitters. Duncan Marston has also been really good for them out of the bullpen and started a game now. So I feel like you're getting more and more of these arms that are going to continue to build up innings and keep getting better. And I think you can take your time with Blake Morningstar and be like, okay, he has really good stuff. We've seen their stuff be really, really good. If he can be good by ACC play, you feel really good if you're Wake Forest. And I think deservingly, 11-1 now, they deserve to be in here. They lost opening day, same thing as what we're talking about Southern Miss. They lost to a good Houston team, and then they go out there and they've won 11 straight. So I'm all for Wake Forest being here.
I mean, Cade Lewis still has a sub 1 OPS, so everyone and their dog would have penciled in Drew Burress as we would for ACC preseason play there. But I'm sure Cade Lewis, like, if everyone was like, "Oh, who's your sleeper?" I'm sure most people would. And he's got a 319, with 3 bombs. So I mean, he's there. But it's just like when we talk about all the accolades of everyone else, he's just not jumping out as you would have expected. So, to echo what you've said, they've got bullets that feels like they haven't really shot yet. So not only are they starting off strong, but they've got a lot of ammo still in the bullpen, still in the chamber, so to speak.
So many weapons that haven't really fired off yet. I'm with you. I think that this team has a lot to go. So we talked about 22, Virginia. We're going to go past them. They move up 2 spots in our poll, just solid. But we haven't really seen them play a lot of competition. We'll see that more this weekend. Texas A&M stays at 20 for us. Felt right with how they performed over the weekend. They weren't bad. They weren't great. But they were good enough to stay in our top 25. Tennessee down 3. Jason, they had some struggles this weekend, but I think that overall we all felt that was a pretty good team. But down 3 kind of felt fair with them going through these growing pains right now, right?
Yeah. So Tennessee for me is like a snapshot team right now. That would be a good way for me to put it. I feel like if you were to look at them in like 2-inning snapshots, you're like, this team is really good. Like Coons is really, really good. They've got some real Frederick, the transfer from I think it was Easton or East Tennessee State. He's really, really good. Like they've got some really good pieces. Appenzeller looked freakish to close out, I think, game 2 for them. Like they've got some, like when you just almost like if you were to watch a highlight of the game, you're like, man, this team's really, and they are good. It's just it feels like they keep having like snowball innings, and I think it's because they were playing good competition. Clearly, they were playing UCLA, and then they won the next 2, but it's like you want more of that consistency. You don't want that snapshot. Like you want that full game. And sometimes maybe that just being, getting used to a new coach and getting used to a new cadence and trying to make everything work together. I think they're good here. If I were to stock up, stop down them, I would actually stock up for them because those first 2 innings versus UCLA, they looked like the better team. Like, I mean, again, like snapshot, like it's one of those things like Coons blew them away at the top of the first. So, I mean, they're an odd team for me, but I think stock up for Tennessee.
And I feel Coons is going to keep getting better. Landon Mack's going to keep getting better throughout the season. Evan Blanco's going to get more innings. I'm with you. I think that this is a team that's on the rise. And Cam Appenzeller, he's looking the part, man, Will.
Yeah, looks really, really good. And quite honestly, this weekend, it was a 2-1 weekend. The one I circle is like I would have liked them to put away Virginia Tech a little bit more. Quite honestly, I think that if you're gonna have a takeaway this weekend, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, that score against UCLA was not indicative of how close that game was. Even John Savage said it at UCLA. He's like, yesterday was a lot closer than what this final score tells. Tegan Coons was fantastic. The starting pitching in general has been fantastic. They're holding teams to a sub 200 batting average. feel like the biggest thing, like Jason said, like it's these snowball innings. I feel like their lack of being able to put teams away right now is kind of hurting them. We saw it with Kent State. Like you got to just put teams away when you're ahead. The big guy I have circled right now is Levi Clark. He's hitting a $175, really struggling on off. He hit the ball hard this weekend, though. I will say
He did.
hit the ball harder this weekend. At bats looked a little bit more comfortable. Really a guy that can provide a lot for this team, but you got to start seeing it come around a little bit. And the guys who are performing really well, Henry Ford looks fantastic at the plate. He looks fantastic on defense. And then Blaine Brown is just a monster. Like that kid is crazy impressive. 4 home runs, 12 RBI so far this season. Really fun to watch. But yeah, I mean, I think there's still some question marks, but I think this is a really fair spot for them. They're, like Jason said, new coach, you're figuring things out. And this weekend I thought was maybe better than maybe what it led on to be. And I thought they looked really good against Arizona State. And I thought Arizona State looked really good this weekend.
Yeah, Arizona State has been one of the surprises of the year. I mean, that's a good win. That's a good Arizona State.
Yes.
I get they went 0-3, but they also played 3 very good teams.
Top 20
like
teams.
that's honestly that's what makes UCLA's weekend so good, is because it was 3 really good teams. So I think that Tennessee is looking, and we didn't even mention Mac, the Rutgers transfer. He looks phenomenal.
He was unreal on Saturday.
He was really good. Yeah. He's been good.
Yeah. So I mean, they've got so many pieces that I think once they start to like see where these pieces kind of gel together, and who's going to be that Friday one, and then who's going to be the maybe 6 to 8 for them, and then who's going to finish out probably Frederick in the 9, unsure. Like I think they'll be really, really hard to beat once they figure out that Friday 1-2, and then they get into Mac on Saturday, because their hitting is their hitting. They're going to be good. So I would say stock up for Tennessee.
And if Levi Clark can figure it out a little bit and give even more protection to Henry Ford, this lineup is really going to get going, and then the pitching is just going to keep getting better. They're going to stretch these guys more and more innings. Early in the season, we see this a lot with guys that are coming off of injury, or both him and Blanco, like Mac and Blanco, coming off of injuries last year, so that they're still ramping their game up to get back to full strength of innings. If these guys both start throwing 6-7 innings, that's going to put the bullpen back in a spot where it's very manageable, and you're not going to see the walks. You're not going to see those big innings like these guys were talking about. Miami down 9. We already talked about it a little bit. The 2 games, the losses there. I think that they'll bounce back, but this is probably more realistic of where Miami should be as far as overall. That Florida team is a very good team, so it doesn't kill them that much. But I think we had them maybe really high being an undefeated team and how many runs they had scored previous to this. So I think,
and that was after the balk. That was after the balk.
Yeah.
And then it was the balk. Then it was the intentional walk. Then it was the home run. That was rough. That was
rough one there. Yeah. We talked about Oregon already. Again, 17 right there. We'd want to see them play better competition, but this weekend was good for them. I think that if they had beat UC Irvine and held on to that game there, I think that you'd see them maybe in the top 10, because they'd be undefeated still at this point and have looked really good over the weekend. But that loss to UC Irvine doesn't kill you. Would have been really nice to get that as a full game sweep and go out there and win that whole thing, especially with Oregon State coming to town on Tuesday. Would have been a big bump for them. Arkansas at 16, down 9, Will. I personally dropped them completely out of my top 25, and I'm surprised that more people didn't completely roast me and tear me apart, but they haven't looked like a top 25 team to me. They lose to 2 mid-majors that are not necessarily like top-tier mid-majors, even good. I like both those teams. I wouldn't call them top-tier, though, Will. And is this what's going on in Fayetteville right now?
It's a very confusing team, and we talked about it a little bit pre-show. 113 strikeouts on offense, good for right around that 31% mark. But on the flip side, they have 137 strikeouts as a pitching staff. Like, the pitching staff is just unreal for this team. And it always is, right? Matt Hobbs is one of the best pitching coaches in the game. It's a big peoples and programs kind of team at Arkansas. You're always going to put your faith in Matt Hobbs to have a really good pitching staff, and that's what he has again. Can the offense produce consistently? It's like, this has just been a tale of 2 teams. You see them lose to Arlington on Friday, and then what do they do on Saturday and Sunday? They beat the brakes off of them. It's a very confusing team. I haven't figured it out. Honestly, I don't think anyone has figured them out. And really, the big litmus test for them so far was against TCU, and they lost. It was a really good game, but they lost. So I don't really know where I stand on Arkansas right now. I don't blame people for dropping them out entirely, but again, the pitching staff has been so good for them. It's like it's
Yeah.
hard. I mean, they're holding teams to a 184 batting average against. So the pitching staff is really good. The starting rotation is really good. We're seeing Dietz come around a little bit, which is really good to see. He's got 22 strikeouts in 13 innings. Colin Fisher has 26 and 19. Like, these guys are just tearing it up on the mound, and I think you're going to continue to see that.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Colin Fisher, I wouldn't have this team anywhere near the top 25. But he has been a really big piece to keep going out there and getting wins for them and competing for them. And the fact is, they have great pitching, and I think that that's going to continue. If they find the hitting, if they're a top 25 team. I probably am being too harsh on them, dropping them out of top 25. But I did have them at 25 to start the season, so it only feels fair losing two midweeks. Losing a midweek and losing another game against mid-major. For me, I got to drop them out, but they have plenty of opportunity to jump back in. The start of their SEC schedule is pretty soft as far as SEC schedules go. Still,
I think
SEC.
they play Mississippi State weekend 1, so they've got a pretty difficult. Overall, yeah. I'll keep my Arkansas comments short because I can go into it. I'm pretty worried about the rotation. As insane as that is to say, Gackle did not look good Friday. Really didn't have a breaker. He was just leaving the fastball over the middle. And Dietz is good. Like, Dietz is really good, but I have no idea what you're going to give. Someone joked like he's literally doubled his innings pitched like every single time.
Every time he shows up.
Yeah, every time he shows up, it's like he's doubling his career innings pitched. And like, if it wasn't for Colin Fisher, it's like, where would this team be? I mean, they UTA like that. Yeah, I think it was Dearden. I can't remember his name. He threw 130 pitches. It was a phenomenal, but I think they're 3-7 for a reason. I think they got blasted again today in the midweek. So I mean, that's not a good team, and you nearly got run ruled. So that it was not a good showing for Arkansas, to put it lightly.
And as much as we like Arkansas State, they were picked between 4th and 9th in the Sun Belt. So, and that's the conference. Like, if you're going to be the best mid-major team, you're going to be in the top 3 in that conference, and they were not picked there. We like them. We think that they're good. We had good high preseason hopes for them. But again, not a great midweek loss there.
Yeah, I mean, that Friday game, Arkansas didn't have a guy get to second base, I think, till the 9th inning. I think they had 2 hits and 2 double plays up until the 9th. And it would have been a complete game shutout if it wasn't for an E3. I mean, they almost came back and won that game.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for the air, it would have been 4-0, complete game shutout.
And I think maybe, people that are out there just scoreboard watching, they see the box score. Oh, they only lost by 1
run.
That wasn't what it was.
Keep them where
that
they're
was
at.
completely dominated on Friday.
I try to be kind to people because I know how hard it is to watch so many games, but I just don't know how you watch this team and think top 10 team.
Yeah,
they could be. They could be.
Yeah, they could be. They have the potential. I'll give you that.
What's their best? What's their best win right now? That would be my question. Is it Texas Tech?
Texas Tech or Oklahoma?
Probably.
Yeah, Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Texas Tech is their best win.
Yeah,
and their second worst loss is their best loss is TCU, who's what 5-6 now, or where are they at? Will
6 and 5.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, if you just like resume watch that, you're like, how in the world is this team a top 10? I don't. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Moving.
And we have a 16. I think it's fair right now. Again.
Oh,
like I said,
more than fair.
Yeah, I think 16 might be high. I think that's. But for me, I'm okay with.
I think they're in the hundreds in the
16,
RPI.
so.
I think they're plus 100 in the RPI because the strength of schedule is not good. I could keep going. Let's keep going.
Number 15, TCU. We talked about them a little bit, kind of a ho-hum weekend, but they went out and took care of business, getting back over 500. NC State, number 14, up 5 from their spot at 19. I have them as a top 10 team. Jason, this kind of feels like a sleeper squad that maybe not if people are paying attention to, but they have some really good arms. They have some bats that are showing up. They seem like a complete team.
One of the big question marks we had in the portal season was Wiggins coming from Indiana, and he has been transcendent. And this just kind of feels like what NC State does. Like, it feels like they take these guys that are either like maybe unheralded freshmen or maybe like juniors or maybe like JUCO guys that they bring, and then they just go bananas. Their development from a hitting perspective just feels to be on a whole nother level. And they I think they've got like an 1100 team OPS. What is their team OPS? I remember reading it and being like, "What?"
It's
And
high.
and then they have Duden. Like they have. That was the thing we talked about.
It's actually it's closer to 1200.
Yeah. I knew it. It was ridiculous. Sorry, I should have been prepared, but I love this team. And I remember we came into this season telling ourselves like, oh, that pitching staff, like they're bringing everybody back. Like they've got Duden, they've got all of these pieces, like pitching. Hopefully they can swing. And now it's like, holy shit, like what can they not?
Hit.
And yeah, so I was talking about stock up for Tennessee. I would say, smash the buy button for NC State would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I'm pedal to the metal on this NC State team. I think the Wolfpack just screams to the top here. I think they were, underrated with all the ACC teams that got so much publicity early. I think that they were kind of overlooked, but this team just nothing but potential in front of them, and they've been playing good baseball. Will, I know you got one. I know you want to say some stuff. I know you're probably looking at some stats, going, "What the hell?"
I do. I'm actually, I really don't want to be this guy. I'm gonna rain on the parade a little bit. As nuts as
I love wet blankets. As the CEO of Wet Blanket Incorporated, I'm glad I can hand it off to you.
I have to. This right now, it feels like the Miami effect.
Okay.
Like they are just destroying teams, but quite frankly, like haven't played anybody up to snuff yet, and I think that's just how it is. I'm not even counting. Not even going to talk about the Princeton loss because it was a doubleheader day. It was a 1-0 game after you scored 17 runs. It's just a law of averages. College baseball rules say when college baseball rules play out, when you score 16 runs in at 11 a.m., you're probably going to score maybe 2 at 2 p.m. And they scored 0, right? They ran into a really good arm that day. It is what it is. I mean, they have 3 guys with a slug over 750. Like it's bonkers what this team is doing. And for what it's worth, they have 30 stolen bases as a team. Like they're doing everything, which you have to be really excited about. The pitching has been unbelievable, but they haven't really been tested yet. And they're not going to be tested for a little bit longer. They have Coastal in a midweek. That'll be interesting. Coastal's coming off of what seemed like a weekend salvaging win on Sunday. So maybe they carry some momentum into that one. But then you've got Queens, Lafayette, Elon, and you open with Boston College until they don't play. Really, I have March 20th circled. Like that's when we find out if NC State is the real deal or not, when they go to Tallahassee and play Florida State. Until then, I am hitting the brakes a little bit on the Wolfpack. I think it's very fair to have them in the top 15, but we saw what just happened, what we did with Miami when we put them at 9th last week and then they played Florida, right? Like, there's always going to be that coming to Jesus moment in these schedules when you play teams that are up to your talent level. And I think that's going to happen March 20th. I'm not saying they're going to go out and lose to Florida State. By no means am I saying that. But they're actually going to be tested that weekend. And I think that's where I have my start of season circled for NC State. Because quite honestly, I think they're just going to keep rolling until then.
Yeah, I think that they're a good squad, and I think
is that unfair? Is that too wet?
No. I think the blanket was quite mild.
Fair,
but those Queens, the known demolishers of the Gamecocks. So you never know; they could get their second Power 5 win.
I was gonna say, that was only their first Power 5 win ever.
Yeah.
For P4 now, I guess. Since
I'm looking at their schedule now. Yet. You're right. My goodness. I mean, it's you never count games as wins. But they could have one loss heading into Florida State.
It could be a 16-1 team going to Florida State.
And quite honestly, I will probably still rank them right around that 12 to 14 mark until then. I think it's just a good spot for them.
Isn't that inverse of Avent? I feel like they're always like
they usually play really hard at the beginning of the season.
They're a figure it out squad, and then like halfway through the year, they're like, okay, these are our 12 guys. We're gonna ride or die with these 12. Like it's weird to see them with like such crazy early season success. I don't know what to think about these things.
I love it. Let's move on to our number 13 team, Oklahoma, up 2. They did lose the Sunday game to Gonzaga. Again, we think that they've been playing really good baseball. We'll see more when they get to SEC play. Florida State down 1-12. Not a lot. They were kind of boring this weekend. They didn't look great against.
They got the rotation. They got the rotation finally, which is nice.
Yep, Trey Beard finally threw. Like, I think that they're going to be good. Wes Mendez, Trey Beard. I like them. I think that the lineup's good. I think Miles Bailey is up for the Golden Spikes for a reason. This team's going to be really, really good. Number 11, Clemson, up 3. They did lose the opener there to South Carolina, but like we talked about, losing a rivalry game, especially in a neutral home game, not the end of the world for them. They did look good in the next two. Florida up 11 from 21 to 10 now, Jason. Are you convinced that this team is a top 10 team?
Yes and no. Yes, if they had Aiden King. I
Yeah.
know he I think it
Cramps
came
is
out
what
that
they
he was
said.
having like arm cramps, like tightness. But you never know on that.
Yeah.
If they have Aiden King, I think they're a top 5 team.
Because the 1-2
I
punch.
think you just look at the first game versus UAB and just say like, it was game 1. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we dropped some pop-ups. Like we didn't play good. Like, it happens. They've been dominant since that. Now, the Miami series, almost similar to what we were saying with UCLA Tennessee. It was a lot closer than I think the box score shows. Like, again, you showed the highlight of the bomb. I mean, if they don't call the balk, like, there was a ton of momentum for Miami. Like, I'm not saying Miami wins that game, but they go into the dugout tied with a ton of momentum, not down 4. Or down 3. I can't remember what it was. So I think they're very good. Jones, the center fielder, the Stetson transfer, is looking really, really good.
He's been really good.
And we've already talked about Lawson. Lawson's looks like he's
SEC Player
also,
of the Year counter.
Yeah. So I mean, the big thing I was pointing to is their pitching depth, and I think that's going to be tested. I guess really we'll see what happens when they come out with the rotation for this weekend.
Yeah.
I think it'll say a lot if he's in the rotation. Then it's like, okay, full steam ahead. Yeah, I think they're a top 5 team. If they're not, then it's kind of like, all right, let's see what they have on Saturday.
Yeah, and Cooper Walls, the Hawaii transfer on Sundays, has been good for them. He's been solid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's going to blow people away in SEC. He's not going to be that kind of guy this year as a sophomore season. But they've been good, and I think that
you can't replace a first rounder. He's a first rounder.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
If he misses an SEC start, it's there's going to be questions there. Will, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I think the big jump, and I know we talked about, up 11, down 9. This is the first week, and I talked about it in our group chat yesterday. Like, it feels like the rankings are settling where they should be, kind of deal. Like, we had Florida low because they had some struggles against some lesser teams, but it's like, this is the real Florida, right? It was the same thing with Miami. Like, we had them at 9 because of what they did. Realistically, were they 9? Like, probably not. They were probably around the 15 mark. We now have a big enough sample size to start evaluating these teams properly, in my opinion. And I think that's what you get when you get, 10, 15 games in. So it's a big jump, but I think they were always around the 10 to 13 mark.
Yeah, and I think that this is fair for them, and we're going to see this about right in that same spot all the way up until SEC play, I think, and then we'll really get a better eye on these teams. Once league play starts, which ACC is this week, and I think Big Ten is also this week. So starting to play some league play, that'll kind of give us a better idea of where these teams are going to be. But yeah, SEC doesn't start till the following week. Number 9, Southern Miss up 3, good spot for them. We already talked a lot about them. We've talked a lot about them in these shows. They deserve to be a top 10 team. They're going to have to continue to perform, but their schedule kind of thins out. So it's good for them to be in the top 10 now, because it wouldn't be easy to get there from the rest of their schedule, what we see for them throughout the rest of this season. Number 8, UNC. They jumped up 2 here. They looked good over the weekend. The offense got going. We know what they have on the pitching side, but again, it was against not really any competition. We'll see this weekend when they play Virginia. That's going to be awesome. We can't wait for that one. I think that one's going to be telling for both of these squads. Auburn down 1 now to 7. Georgia up 2 to number 6. Georgia Tech down 1 to number 5. We talked a lot about these teams in the past. They didn't really do much this weekend, so we didn't want to jump into those guys. Georgia looked good. They have a lot of pieces. They could easily be a top 5 team at one point this season. I think the more we see from this rotation, the more. Kenny Ishikawa's still out. We don't know when he's going to be back fully, but once he gets back fully, that team really gets dangerous. Let's talk about LSU. Struggling right now, down 10-1 as we're recording on Monday night. But
10-1.
Jason, we dropped them down a little bit because they've struggled against competition. They haven't really looked like these freaks. They've looked good in some instances. Some innings they've looked like the best team in baseball. Sometimes they haven't looked that good. Tonight they're not looking so good. But we have them at number 4, and we dropped them down below 2 teams that moved up in our board.
So same thing with Tennessee. This is a snapshot. Like Indiana, I mean, they're down 11-1 now. It's 11 now.
11
in the
now.
sixth.
Oh,
Yeah. They played so many games where they were struggling where they were playing Milwaukee. I think they were down
Milwaukee.
both Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, I mean, this is game 13, and I just rattled off 5 games where they were down for most of the game. And so, and against not like elite competition. And so I don't know what to think of this team. I really don't. They have a ton of talent, clearly. But I don't know why they're not separating themselves, because the offense just really didn't. I mean, this is their 4-game set. I mean, I don't think they scored over 5 runs in any of these four. I mean, we'll still to see what's going to happen tonight. But the offense has been pretty quiet. And these are all at box, so it's not like it's at some. It's not like they're in Arlington where they're playing in front of maybe 2,000 fans or whatever. Like, they're playing at home, night games at the box, and they're struggling against like Dartmouth and Northeastern. So I mean, it's weird. I don't know what to say. I was talking to a buddy in Arlington, and he said it quite well. He said, I am just going to think that LSU is good until they tell me otherwise. It's kind of how it feels. And I think I kind of agree. A part of me wants to overanalyze this and say like, no. The other part of me is just like, they're winning. They're not winning tonight, but they're winning the weekend games. And I guess you could call this a weekend game if you want
This
to
is a
call
weekend
it a
game.
weekend set. Yeah, I mean, they brought in Cowan inning 2, like one of their best relievers, inning 2. So they treated it from a pitching perspective like a weekend game.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to think of them. I think that's my best way to put him. Curiel he's again, I love patting myself on the back. He's kind of proven me right a little bit. I see him as a good college player. I don't know if he's as good as everyone put him as like SEC preseason player of the year and like all of these things. He's always just kind of been like an 800 kind of OPS guy, and he's just continuing to be kind of just an 800 OPS guy. Good college player, but just not a great college player. I mean, LSU highlighted a play he made, I think on Sunday night in center field, and he kind of misplayed it. I mean, it looked good because he like dove when he caught it, but he had an awkward route to it and a ball that at the beginning of our broadcast, we always have the Clemson center fielder going up and making fun of. I mean, that he would have been sitting underneath it, probably doing a backflip, Savannah Banana style for that thing. So I don't know what to think of them. I really don't. As Northeastern commits an error on a very easy 1-3 PFPs, everybody PFPs.
But we practice them in the off season. Yeah, and at this point in the season, it's hard to say that a Jay Johnson team's not going to perform when it comes to SEC play. And these aberrations, as we call them, early in the season happen, and you're going to have some stumbles. Do I think that as they have a great lineup come SEC? Yeah, I think there's still some big question marks on the pitching side. I think we want to see more from that as far as, can these guys be solid against really good competition, because they haven't played really good competition yet. And I think that's why we dropped them down to 4 anyway, before this weekend even had finished, before we even got through the Monday as we're recording here on Monday night. Will, let's talk about our next team. Number 3, Mississippi State jumped up to well-deserved. Yeah, they lost 8-7 in that last game against UCLA, but they looked every bit of the part other than that. I mean, even in that game, they looked the part. They were right there. They could have held on and won that game.
Yeah. I think if there's a team that people bought really early in the year, according to, the transfers they brought in and Oak coming in, it was this team. And truly, they look the part this weekend. The win on Friday against Cole Carlin was really impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, this team is just really, really freaking solid, man. It really is. Like, I was so much fun watching them, and they've got some really fun young pieces. I know, we've talked about Jack Bauer being a guy that I think could be really good. He struggled on the Saturday late against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech kind of dressed that game up a little bit with 4 home runs in the last 2 innings of the game. But man, like, you talk about guys that maybe we didn't highlight coming into the year that have really showed out. Bryce Chance has been unbelievable for them.
Been really good.
Oak has talked about him. I mean, the kid is just legging out doubles. Like, he's extending bags. He's got 5 stolen bases this year. Aiden Teal crushed the ball this weekend. I mean, talk about a dude that Didn't have a lot of extra base hits this weekend, but holy cow, did he hit the ball hard. It seemed like every single that came off of his bat was above 110. Like, the kid is just crushing the baseball. Reed Stallman has been a guy that's been in and out of the starting lineup and has been really successful as a pinch hitter. And O'Connor talked about it, right? He said a lot of players can't throw away at bats this season because we have such a deep roster and guys that want to play and get in the lineup. And it feels like right now he's pressing all the right buttons. A big question that got asked after probably every game for him was, like, how are you pushing the right buttons with these pinch hitters? And he kind of just talked about it as, we're looking at matchups, but these guys are just really, really good. Like, we saw Garrett Fry do it. Garrett Fry gets a pinch hit, first pitch he sees, crushes a home run, a really big home run. I mean, this team across the board, Ryder Woodson started putting it together, and Oak was really fired up about that because he struggled early on. It's guys that we weren't even talking about coming into the season that have been really, really good for them so far. And the pitching has been nothing short of fantastic. I mean, Duke Stone has been unreal for them. He looked really sharp against UCLA on Sunday. And we talked about Tyler Pitzer in the preseason. He hasn't really thrown this year yet. Like, he's only got 3 innings logged and only 4 strikeouts in that time. He was the Cape pitcher of the year, and he's probably pitcher 9 on this roster right now. So it's like, if that kid gets more innings and that kid starts to figure it out, Valinkas has been really good for them in the starting rotation. McPherson looks every bit of a Friday night ace. I mean, I think this is just a team that, I'm going to use the term again, is a wagon. And they're really, really fun. And if there's a team that is really high in the rankings that I still think you can buy right now, it's Mississippi State.
Yeah, there's a reason why they were in my way too early Omaha 8, which was, I wrote back in July when I was like, hey, this team's going to be really good. And people are like, what are you talking about? Mississippi State doesn't have much. I'm like, you're wrong. They have a lot returning. They have guys that they're bringing in. It's a very talented roster. Just like that Georgia roster that loaded up. They loaded up. They have some dudes. They have too many dudes for the positions that they have currently, as Will was saying. They got 13 guys that are going to play. So if somebody struggles, they're going to plug and play somebody else. Somebody else is going to earn an opportunity. And I think that that's kind of just the trademark of a Brian O'Connor team, where they're going to go out and somebody's going to step up and be really good. And that's what they've been.
I mean, frankly, they're a missed call from being the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. It was like a half inch off the plate. Like, in the college game, that's a strike.
That's it.
A lot of the time. Like, it was a missed call, but it's a strike most of the time.
More often than not.
And they're also just like a bad bounce away from winning that game. Like, the ground rule double. Like, I mean, if it just hits the fence instead of goes over the fence, they win that game. So I mean, and if they don't hit the guy in front of Chalowski, do they give up a 2-run bomb? So they passed for me every single test you could have. I actually think they're underrated here, which is pretty wild to say.
Underrated at our number 3 team.
I agree with that.
Which is, I mean, I saw a quote from somebody. They're like, "Hey, what if this is the matchup for the NCAA championship?" And we're bought in. Like, do it.
Yeah, give me 2 more of those. Just give me 2 more of those.
Yeah,
I would love to see
June 21st right now, where I'm sitting there Sunday watching these 2 teams in the second game. I'm in. Like, that's fantastic. Let's move on to our number 2 team, Jason. Texas. They deserve to be here. Have they played the best competition yet? No, but have they looked really good against all of it? Yes, and they're one of our last undefeated teams remaining.
I keep it simple on this one. They just check all the boxes. We talked about it off. They just check every box. So a number of teams you can say, well, they're great, but they do this or that. There's always like a but. There's not really a but with Texas right now. They're kind of just checking all the boxes.
Yeah, they do everything well. And I think that we've talked plenty about them. Very, very good team. Leading to our number 1 team, which we've talked a lot about. We'll go quick on this one. UCLA, again, as you guys have mentioned, they just did all the things right. Any of these 3 teams could have slotted into number 1 had different circumstances happen over the weekend. And I think UCLA winning all 3 just put them there.
Yeah, again, they check every box. They've passed every test so far. And that's really important for them because, like we've mentioned, the Big Ten is not the SEC. It's not the Pac-12. Like, this is a very different conference for them. So for them to notch these wins early, and I think the most encouraging thing are these are the teams that bounced them last year. And Coach Savage talked about it after one of the games. They talked about, you get 3 SEC teams this weekend, you go 3-0. He's like, well, these are the teams that bounced us last year. Arkansas got them last year. LSU got them last year. And these are the teams that are competing at the top of the SEC. and you went out and you beat them early on. So I think it's a really good eye test, but also it's a really big confidence piece for this team saying, when we get to the Supers and we had to they're probably going to be hosting a Super, let's be real. But when someone comes to their place, like, they're prepared. And when they go to Omaha and they have to face off with the LSUs of the world and the Mississippi States, like, they've played these teams and they've played really well against this competition. So I think you have to be really fired up. And it's one of those things we can overanalyze and we can look at where the potential weakness might be, but it's just a complete team and they do everything really well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I think you're right on there. And the schedule wise, like you mentioned, it's not great. You get USC in the middle of April. You get Oregon as the last weekend of the year, for the second to last weekend of the year. They go up to Washington to end it. But I think that the schedule.
Do they play Minnesota?
They play Minnesota. They
yeah.
got Minnesota, Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, Rutgers, and Iowa are their Big Ten series.
Like, none of those are cupcakes. I mean, all of those are good teams.
Solid teams.
Yeah. So I mean that's a pretty good, that from kind of RPI perspective, that's a good schedule. That's a good Big Ten slate.
Yeah, and I think that they're going to be right there. That's our top 25, folks. Thanks for joining us. We love doing this show here. It's going to release on Tuesday since we do have the interview with our wonderful Easton Talt from Oregon State Beavers. Jason, anything you want to add in as last moment here as we get ready to wrap up for this week?
Easton, if you're still on listening to this, sorry for talking about Oregon State so poorly at the beginning. Apologies. But you guys are good. You'll be great. I promise.
Easton's been really good this season, and he robbed another home run this year. So we've already seen the highlights from Easton Talt this year. We love him. Will, anything else you want to throw in here before we finish this thing up?
More college baseball this week. We're 1 week closer to conference play now, so we can stop talking about the hypotheticals.
Yep, half these big Power Fours start up this week. Can't wait. It's going to be some awesome stuff. Join us Thursday. We're going to be Thursday live, doing the live show again. That one's going to be at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 Eastern. And then we'll be live Saturday morning for the Saturday show. Can't wait. Special guest host coming on there for the Saturday show. Going to be awesome. Cannot wait to have you guys again. Thanks from all of us here at the College Baseball Show and Just Baseball Media.